Good evening, friends. Today we are going to talk about one of the banks, South Indian based bank, Lakshmi Vilas Bank. It is in the news for some reasons. Actually, what exactly happened was there is some serious problem in this particular bank. If you look at the financials, as on for the period ending March 31st of this year, that is 31/3/2020, the bank had a capital of almost 336 crores. And a bank's popularity is known by how much deposits and advances it has got. So deposits as on the date stand at around approximately 21,443 crores with advances of around 13,827 crores. So if you do a small mathematics, the ratio of advances, total advances to the total deposit, it comes to almost 64%. Whereas the ideal situation would have been 80 to 90%. Meaning, if a bank has got 1 rupee of deposit, it is better to have a lending of 80 to 90 paise per rupee. Why? There is a logic behind that. The logic is, do not keep the deposited money idle. Idle. Means there has to be a continuous movement of the money. Money, if it sits in the bank, is of no use. It has to be put into circulation. Interest has to be generated. Interest has to be paid to the depositor. Then the difference between interest paid and interest received with the various normal expenditure and all these things determines the profit. Now, in this case, Lakshmi Vilas Bank has a low ratio of around 64%, that is advances to total deposits. Then, if you dig in further, now I am talking only about the period ending 31st of March 2020. You had a gross non-performing assets of almost 4,233 crores. If you take the gross non-performing assets percentage wise, it's almost 25%. How much? 25%. Then from gross we are coming to net. So how much is the net non-performing assets? You have close to 1,387 crores of net non-performing assets, which if you take percentage wise will be almost 10%, and this is not a healthy figure. I repeat, this is not a healthy figure. So again, if you compare the figures of gross non-performing assets with the net non-performing assets for the period ending 30th of June this year, that is post-COVID period I am telling, it was almost very similar to that. Gross non-performing assets value, total gross non-performing in terms of value, it has come down slightly a bit, around 4,124 crores. And the net non-performing assets value wise has come down to 1,298 crores from 1,387 crores. Now we have to move forward. If you quickly run through their profit and loss account for the period ending 31st of March 2020, that is this year, they had a loss of almost 836 crores. I repeat, 836 crores. And if you take the profit figure for 31st ending with 30th June this year, that is the first quarter, again the loss stands at 112 crores. So I repeat, 31st of March 2020, for the entire year you had a loss of 836 crores, whereas this year for the first quarter ending 30th of June you had a loss of 112 crores. Quite a big amount. Now, if you go quickly run through the financials of this particular bank, the auditor has put in a comment, and this comment has some value to it. It adds value. What is that value? Let me just go through it. See, they had a dispute with the Religare Group of New Delhi. That was they had given loan against deposits, and this is normal in any case. It's normal in big companies. As a security, they take deposits or any assets or anything like that, so that they can give loan. Now, for this particular company, they had given a loan against deposits to the amount of 794 crores. This 794 crore includes principal and the interest accrued on this particular deposit. Now what happened? The loan was extended to RHC Holding Private Limited and Rancham Private Limited, which was a part of group company of Religare Finvest Limited. Let me make it clear. You have one particular company, big company, giving loan to two, the amount was for these two subsidiary companies. So what happened? If you see, or if you go through that particular loan paper, there was one thing missing. The title, not the title, the terms. It was nowhere it was mentioned. Group company of Religare Finvest Limited. Actually, this particular loan turned out to be a bad one. Okay. So what happened? The bank had to make a provision of almost 200 crores, and the bank actually, out of the 200 crores, it was not taken into either tier 1 or tier 2 of the capital, or this particular 200 crore liability is a part of PCR. That is another chapter. PCR basically is provision coverage ratio, PCR. And as on date, what the bank's financial state, it stands at 72.58%. Now, %2.5% is okay if you see the current banking parameters. It seems to be okay, but the balance sheet of the bank LVB is a stretched one. Now, if this particular 200 crores is taken as a part of tier 1 or tier 2 or PCR ratio, then it will read an altogether different balance sheet. They have not taken against all these three statutes or whatever you say. Now, now a question may come into your mind. What is tier 1, tier 2? Let me make it very clear. Tier 1 is nothing but shareholders' equity and retained earnings. That is tier 1. Tier 2. What does tier 2 consist of? Revaluation reserves, hybrid capital investments, subordinate tenor debt, general loan loss reserves. We are coming here. General loan loss reserves and undisclosed reserves. That is a part of tier 2. But tier 2, there is a problem. It is more difficult to calculate and more difficult to liquidate. See, there is a calculation. It makes the calculation very difficult, and in times if you want to monetize that, it is very difficult to liquidate. So take care. This 200 crores is not sitting anywhere in tier 1 or tier 2 or PCR. Now a question may come, what is PCR? PCR is a simple arithmetical calculation. Equity minus net non-performing assets divided by total assets minus intangible assets. So PCR ratio is derived by equity minus net non-performing assets divided by total assets minus intangible assets. What is this intangible? Intangible is nothing but what we studied in our degree colleges and all these things. It's the same thing. Goodwill, brand recognition, IPR, that's intellectual property rights. It can be patents or trademarks or copyrights. So, in the conclusion, what I would like to say is, after going through the balance sheet for 3 to 4 years consequently, the balance sheet doesn't inspire confidence. It has, over the years, it has had a gradual decline, and that is very much evident in their financials when you make a comparison of year-on-year basis. Even the share market also, it has the share value has drastically come down. So what I can say is it's on a loose wicket. Though there are problems going further, I see the problems being compounded, but fortunately Reserve Bank of India has taken some interest today, and let us hope for the best. Thank you for listening.